Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. If you clicked this video, you want to know how to build a Next.Js full stack application. We're gonna use Next.Js for our application, NextAuth for the auth part, Prisma to connect to the database, and Postgres for the database. This video is gonna be very big. I recommend you switch on the subtitles so you can understand what I'm saying better. Now we're gonna see together the application we're gonna make. The first thing you notice is that we can authenticate with Google. I'm gonna press the button and I'm gonna select the account. Now we are in the home page and we can see the inventory changes. In the categories, we can see all the categories from the products. We can search a particular category and we can see the details. Of course, we can change the name. Now I'm gonna create a category and I'm gonna name it YouTube category. Now in the products page, we can see everything about the products. We can change name, description and price, and of course the category. We can delete the product or we can create a new product. Every input is validated. Now I'm gonna create a new product and I'm gonna select the category we created. In the categories page, we can see the new category and the new product. In the inventory page, we can see the details about the new product, and of course we can change the stock number and even the date. I'm gonna create new stock and now we are able to see the changes in the home page. And of course we can delete those changes. Now in the setting pages, we can see our email and we can sign out. Now let's create our application. We need to type npx create next app -- TypeScript, and after everything is done, we're gonna cd into our folder. The very first thing we need to do is to reset our styling. First of all, I'm gonna bring in Sass. I'm gonna clear the terminal and I'm gonna delete the home module CSS. I'm gonna rename the globals to SCSS and I'm gonna rename the import. Now in the index.tsx file, I'm gonna remove the style file and the class name from the container and delete everything in between. Now I'm gonna start the application to see if everything is fine. We are using Mantine Ui Framework for the styling. If you go to the Mantine website and click Next.Js, you can select the packages you need to install. We need to select hooks, core, form, dates, and modals. Then I'm gonna copy the npm command and I'm gonna install the packages. The next dependency we need is React Query. React Query allows us to control the state of the fetched data. If you type React Query npm in the Google and go to tanstack.com, you can copy the npm command. Of course, we're gonna need the dev tools too. We're gonna use Prisma to connect to our database. If you go to the Prisma docs, you can copy the npm commands and install the packages. Finally, we need Axios, Zod for validation, and NextAuth. And for the icons, we're gonna use React icons. The easiest way to create a database is to install Docker and create a container. All you have to do is to press the run button and your database is up and running. The alternative I recommend is to go to railway.app log in with GitHub, and start a new project. Now all you have to do is to create a Postgres database. If you click the box, you can see the settings. Go to the Connect tab and you can see your Postgres connection URL. In the next part, we're gonna set up NextAuth. First of all, we need to create the Prisma schema. If you type npx Prisma in it, the Prisma folder will be created automatically. Googling NextAuth Prisma docs, we can see how to connect Prisma with NextAuth. We will need NextAuth Prisma adapter package. Then we need to create the NextAuth.js file. In this file we are gonna configure the NextAuth. Let's create the file and copy all the imports. Now, in order to use Prisma, we need to initialize the Prisma client. I'm gonna create a folder with the name config and a file called prisma.ts. Prisma docs provides us with the best practice for initializing Prisma client with Next.Js. I'm gonna copy over the solution and then paste it to the prisma.ts file. Now we're ready to import the Prisma client and configure the NextAuth. In the adapter variable, we need to type Prisma adapter and pass the Prisma client. In the providers array, we need to pass the Google provider. The Google provider takes two variables, the client ID and the client secret. We will generate those later. Also, we need to pass a secret variable. The secret is about the cookies, and in the session variable, the strategy is database, because we're using a Postgres database instead of JSON Web Token. We'll use secure cookies, and I'm gonna declare the sign-in page. In the callbacks, if there is a session, I'm gonna attach the user ID to the session itself, so we can later use it. Now in the .env file, we will create all the variables we're gonna need. First of all, I'm gonna copy the Postgres connection URL and I'm gonna declare the secret, the NextAuth URL, the NextAuth secret, which is the same as the secret itself, the Google client ID, and the Google client secret. Now we need to make TypeScript happy. Let's export the NextAuth auth options, and we need to extend the session types. I'm gonna create a folder called types and a file called authtypes.d.ts. The interface session is the default user and the user ID. Now we need to generate the Google ID and the secret. You need to go to console.cloud.google.com, and in the URI we're gonna put localhost. In the authorized redirect URIs we're gonna put localhost API auth callback Google. click create and copy your info. In the Next.Auth docs, there's a Prisma schema. To get started quickly, I'm gonna copy it and paste it in our schema.prisma file. Type npx prisma generate to generate the client and npx prisma migrate dev to generate the migration. If you type npx prisma studio, you should be able to see all the tables. Now we're gonna create a custom sign-in page, create a folder with the name auth, and create a signin.tsx file. In the Next.Auth docs, in the configurations page, there is a description on how to make custom sign-in page. I'm gonna copy all the code and we're gonna change it a bit to make it beautiful. I'm gonna bring in FA Google from React icons and some components from the Mantine core. I'm gonna use the center component because we want everything to be centered. In the stack component, I'm gonna put the title and the button. The stack component is flexbox in column. If provider.name is Google, then render the button. And on click, we're gonna call the sign-in function. The SX property is like inline styling. And the group component is flexbox in row. The only provider we have here is Google. And now we can see the result. Go to app.tsx file and import session provider from NextAuth React. We're gonna put the component between the session provider so we can access the session. Go to the Next.Auth.ts and change use secure cookies to production because we don't have HTTPS in dev environment. Now in the index.tsx file we can call useSessionHook. The useSessionHook provides us with the data and the status of the session. We're gonna print the name of the user if there is a session. I'm creating a link to the auth page and I'm gonna render a sign out button if the user is authenticated. In the button, I'm gonna call the sign out function. Now I'm gonna click the sign in with Google, I'm gonna sign in with my account and then visit the home page. In the Prisma Studio, we can see the account is created. The next thing we want is to redirect the user if he logs in successfully. We need to open the Next.Auth.ts file, go to the callbox, and create a redirect function. We're gonna pass in the URL and the base URL, and we're gonna return the base URL. The next thing we're gonna do is to protect our pages from the unauthorized users. In order to do that, we'll create a new component. Go to the index.tsx file and create a link to a new page. We'll call the page categories. Now create the page and the page folder. And I'm gonna apply some margin. Now we are gonna extend the types of the component in order to add the required auth property. First we're gonna create a new type for the app props and then a new type for the component props. Create a new file in the types folder and name it custom next page.dead.ts. Add the required auth boolean property and export the type. Now import the custom next page type to the categories page and add the typing. Now the autocomplete shows us the property. Go to the home page and do the same. The next part is to create the AuthGuard component. With this component we're gonna wrap the protected pages. The logic I'm following is if the status is authenticated from the session, go to the page. If the status is unauthenticated, go to the sign in, and if the status is loading, show a spinner. Now import the AuthGuard to the app.tsx file. I'm gonna distract through the page props, and I'm gonna pass the session to the session variable in session provider and some additional properties. If the component does require auth, you have to go through the AuthGuard. If not, the component will render anyway. I'm going to add the require auth property to the home too, and if the user tries to access the home without being authenticated, he will be redirected to the sign in page.